The Xenotoca Doadroi is one of the more popular and easier to find Goodeid species in the aquarium hobby. With its awesome blue and orange coloration, there's not a doubt as to why this is one of the more popular Goodeid species. So let's head into the fish barn and learn more about this popular and beautiful Goodeid. The Xenotoca Doadroi is a colorful Goodeid species that's found in the state of Jalisco in Mexico and some of the tributaries of the Rio Omeca, where it's found in a wide variety of water conditions. Like many Goodeid species, the Xenotoca Doadroi is endangered in the wild. This is primarily due to the diversion and elimination of groundwater sources in the small streams that it inhabits. I've found that the Xenotoca Doadroi is a hardy and easy fish to keep. This fish will get to be about 2 inches long. While you can keep these fish in a 20-gallon tank, I really do prefer keeping these fish in either a 29-gallon or 40-gallon breeder. I currently keep my colony in a 29-gallon. This tank should have heavily planted areas, so there's places for the fry to hide. Some of my favorite plants with live bearers are hornwort, java moss, and the crypts. As with most Goodeid species, they do prefer cooler temperatures from the mid-60s to low 70s. They will start to fall apart if the temperatures do stay above 75 degrees. Like their more common Guppy and Molly cousins, these fish do like harder, higher pH water. They do fine in my system where the pH is around 7.8 to 8.0. Being river dwellers, they do like clean, well-filtered water with some current. I accomplished this with one of my favorite products, the Aquarium Co-op Sponge Filter. If you do have a hang-on back or canister filter, I do highly recommend to have an intake sponge to prevent fry from being sucked into the intake. These fish will feed readily, accepting a wide variety of appropriately sized flake, pellet, frozen, and live foods. Some of my favorites being the Extreme Krill Flake and Extreme Spirulina Flakes. Goodeids tend to be on the more aggressive side, so I really don't consider them to be community type fish. I've not kept my Xenotoca Doadroi with other species, so I really don't know how they interact. If you did want to try them with other species, I have had success keeping Goodeids with other fish like rainbows, plecos, and other Pasillid live bears. I would avoid keeping these with smaller shrimp species like your Neocaridina cherry shrimp, because they'll more than likely become a snack. One thing I would highly recommend is to avoid keeping these with other Goodeid species to avoid interbreeding. With all Goodeids, one thing that's extremely important is to separate fish from different locations to avoid cross-contamination. This is especially important with this species since there's a lot of similarities between the Xenotoca Doadroi and its cousins, the Xenotoca izeni and Xenotoca lion's eye. While these fish are live bearers, like their cousins the guppies and platies, there are some stark differences when it comes to reproduction. First of all, the males do not possess a gonopodium, but instead have a notch in their anal fin. The females, on the other hand, will just have the typical rounded anal fin. The gestation period is around 60 days, compared to 30 days for most other live bearers. And the young Xenotoca Doadroi will come out a bit larger than your typical live bearers, while the females drop fewer fish, usually from about 5 to 30. Like other live bears, the fry will eat readily, either crushed up flake food, baby brine shrimp, and many other types of smaller sized foods. To improve your yields, you may want to move females to a separate rearing tank to drop their fry, since some Goodeid species have been known to be fry eaters, even though I've not experienced this with this particular species. Now that we've explored this species a little bit, let's talk about where you can find the Xenotoca Doadroi. You're more than likely not going to find this fish in your local aquarium shop or big box pet store. Some great places to find these fish are Aquabid, your local aquarium club, local auctions, and organizations like the American Live Bearer Association and the Chicago Live Bearer Association. If you're looking for more information on Goodeids, I would highly recommend you check out the Goodeid Working Group, which is an organization committed to the conservation and education on Goodeid species. I'll go ahead and put a link to that group here in the description. I also have a general care guide for Goodeids that I'll put up here in the corner of the screen if you want to learn more. So that being said, stay safe, stay fishy, and I'll catch you on the next video.